What is going on, everybody? What is going on, everybody? My name is JeffLightsyJr here at the Black Balls channel with Victory Formation. Thank you guys for tuning in. We are a live show because it is game day. Yes, it is game day. Game day in the SWAC. We got the biggest matchup of the weekend in HBCU football, and that is Jackson State taking on Grambling. You also got the HBCU New York Football Classic, the first of its kind, an HBCU football game taking place in New York City between Morehouse and Howard, and a bunch of HBCU football games all across the country. Be sure to come on in, tell a friend, come hang out with us as we talk about some of the biggest games that'll take place in a couple of hours. Hit that thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe. We'll be right back after the bumper. Stay tuned. What is going on, everybody? What is going on, everybody? Come on into the room. Let me know who you are and where you're from. What school are you repping today? Who are you rooting for today? Who are you want to see get a victory today? Who do you hope is singing the fight song after the game of your favorite school? So let me know where you're from, who you are, where you're from, and what school you're repping today, because we got some big games on the docket, but none of them bigger than the Tigers versus the Tigers. That is the Jackson State Tigers in Jackson, Mississippi against the Grambling State Tigers, led by Coach Hue Jackson in Grambling. This is the game of the day. This is the game. This has my heart torn. You guys know I have a soft spot in my heart for both of these schools. I've interviewed a bunch of Grambling players, including head coach Hue Jackson. I've talked to a bunch of Jackson State players. I talk a lot about Jackson State. And this is the game that I have been waiting for all year. I've been waiting for this game. It's a game, like I said, that has my heart torn, but I love the matchup, and I love to see the two teams. We got Sophia in the building already. She's going with JSU. Go Tigers from Illinois. She's going with the Tigers of Jackson State. Let me know who you're rooting for, who you are, who you're rooting for, where you're from, and a score prediction. And I'll get my score prediction, but I want to see some of those score predictions. Shout out to Drusilla. She's always here rooting for the JSU Tigers. Drusilla is always in the building rooting for Jackson State. The Jackson State faithful is coming out. And how many people? I think Jackson State, I think they're getting 55,000 today. I think it's the home opener. It's Grambling. They haven't beat Grambling since 1999 at home. They haven't beat Grambling since 1999. Let me repeat that. They haven't beat Grambling at home since 1999. So, who's streaming the game? We got Jackson State from Dallas, Texas. Shout out to Hillis, Jackson State in Dallas, Texas. The game is going to be streamed on ESPN3. So that is online. ESPN3, that is online. Yeah. ESPN3 is where you can find JSU versus Grambling. ESPN3. Oh, we got some score predictions. We got some score 23-10 JSU. I like the realistic score predictions, because sometimes we get, Jackson State blew out FAMU, and folks just think every game's going to be 59-3. I like the realistic score predictions. 23-10 is realistic. Last week's game was 16-3. That's a realistic score prediction. So I like the comments are flowing in. We got some realistic score predictions. We got Aaron Sanders. What's good, family? JS 230. This is what I'm talking about. Folks is going to be throwing out the blowout numbers 38-3. And I'll get into why. I don't think it'll be a 38-3 matchup. I think it'll be closer. And I'll tell you who I am rocking with. Let's look at some more of your comments. J State banging these people up today. Jackson State, where you from? And what's the score prediction? ESPN3, Jackson State, Fort Worth, Funky Town. Shout out to Aaron. This is ESPN3. ESPN3, and we'll find some links, and we'll post some links as we get closer to the game. So look, and I'm gonna get some more of your comments. Shout out to y'all for coming in, tapping in with me. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button. We want to get in here heavy before the game, for the ones who aren't pre-gaming or tailgating, that is, that aren't in Jackson. Come hang out with me. Now, here's the thing. Jackson State versus Grambling. Grambling showed a lot of life last week because the first week they played an FBS opponent. They didn't look like they were supposed to. And then the first week, Jackson State blew out FAMU. Both teams showed more of what I think they'll be this season last week. Grambling doing what they were able to do on the offensive side of the ball against Northwestern State, and Jackson State with the dominant defensive performance against TSU and that god-awful production of the Southern Heritage Classic for those who are watching it at home. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button. So, here's the thing. Jackson State, one thing that I could see that can help Grambling, if they're able to do this, if Grambling, they have one thing that they have to be able to do, and this is run the ball. They have stellar running backs from Deuce Williams to Maurice Washington, guys that can really flat out run the football. If they are able to establish the run and keep Shedeur Sanders at bay, this could be a really good game for them. If they are able to establish the run, the only problem with that is Jackson State is only giving up 2 yards per play. And that is run and pass, not 2 yards per run. You guys didn't hear me right. Not 2 yards per run. They're only giving up 2 yards per play. 2 yards per play. That is just simply ridiculous. 2 yards per play is just simply ridiculous. Let me look at good morning. I made it to the stadium parking lot. There's a lot of cars trying to get in. Woo, they filing in. I'm thinking 55,000 will be on hand at Mississippi Veterans Memorial Stadium today in Jackson, Mississippi. I think we can get, do we think, what's it? Somebody leave in the chat and I'll pull them up. What are your attendance predictions? We saw 51,000 last week in Memphis. 51,000 for the Southern Heritage Classic. I think 55 is going to show up today in Jackson, Mississippi. I think 55,000. 1, because they're playing Grambling. 2, because it's the home opener. 3, because Grambling hasn't lost a game in Jackson since 1999. JSU fans, how do you feel about this? Y'all ain't been Grambling at home? Y'all haven't protected home from Grambling in over 20 years. Almost 25 years. It's 2022. 99 is almost 25 years ago. I'm only 26 years old. Y'all haven't protected home from the Graham fam. What are y'all doing? JSU, I need to know. Are you guys going to be able to protect home today? Are y'all going to be able to protect home? Now, in part of protecting home, you have to be able to protect Shedeur Sanders. Grambling hasn't shown a crazy pass rush, and that isn't good. That isn't good playing a guy like Shedeur Sanders, because the one thing we know about, too, for JSU is that he's going to always take what the defense gives him. Shedeur is not a guy that has to hit the home run ball. He's not a guy that has to make every play. He makes the right plays. He doesn't have to make every play, but he seems 9 times out of 10 to always make the right play. Always make the right play, and that is going to be difficult. 45K. Grambling doesn't travel like SU. Ooh, the Graham fam. We got some attendance predictions. Let me. I appreciate you, Lamar. 50. We got a Sophia who says 53,000. We've got Lamar says 55 to 60. 60 is a sellout. So if y'all get 60 today, I'm gonna clap it up for everybody. But they're already saying Grambling don't travel. And Grand fam, y'all need to step that up, man. If y'all ain't traveling to this game, Grambling QB is terrible, have no shot. But no. We're not gonna do Quintarius Hawkins like that. Quintarius Hawkins can play. Y'all didn't watch Grambling last week. If you watched the first week, throw that out the window. That don't count. And if you watch first week against Arkansas State, we ain't dealing with that. But last week, Hawkins threw for over 300 yards and only had 16 completions. The man can play, and they take shots down the field. That is one thing that Grambling really does. Between 35, okay, Joe, it's a big difference. 35 and 50K. We see in Drusilla saying 60,000. EJ saying 60,000. And then we got the 45, 55 inside, 10,000 out. What is that for the folks that are there? What is the atmosphere going to be like? What is it going to be like? Because I wish I was there. I really wish I was there. I had some stuff I had to handle with some family, so I couldn't make it. No sound. And my sound, can you guys hear me? Somebody saying no sound. Someone is saying no sound. 60,000. Pam Pam's one. So nah, Terrence, I'm only 26, man. Yeah, I'm only 26. I have a birthday later this year. So anyway, back to the game. You guys got me excited, man. We're looking at this good stuff, man. We're coming in here. More and more people continue to hit that thumbs up button as you come in. Now, anyway, back to what I was saying about the game. I keep getting off track because I'm looking at your comments and I'm excited about what's taking place today with Grambling traveling to Jackson State, a place that they haven't lost since 1999. That is really good to see. That is cool to see, but how can Jackson State respond? Now, about this game, like I said, Shedeur Sanders is not someone who force feeds anything. Shedeur Sanders is not someone who gets rattled easily. He doesn't really get rattled. One thing that I think can help Grambling a lot in this game, and I talked about this earlier, if they can establish the run game, because the thing about Jackson State, they're not a quick strike offense. What I mean by that is that their running backs in Santee Marshall and Sivion Wilkerson, who had a really good game in the Southern Heritage Classic, these guys aren't burners. These guys are hard-nosed, 4 yards in a cloud of dust type running backs. They're guys that are going to run hard and force you, no arm tackles. They're breaking all arm tackles, but they're not going to bust the 60-yard run. Shedeur Sanders is not someone who's hitting a 70-yard touchdown pass. Jackson State is a methodical offense. They're an offense that gets 8 yards here, 15 yards there, 20 yards here, 17 yards here. Like they boom, 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 boom. It's like death by 1,000 cuts. And so the reason why that can play in Grambling's favor is because of Grambling, this is a big if though, because nobody's been able to do it just yet this season. If Grambling and their stable of running backs who are extremely talented is able to run the ball, they can kill some clock and they can shorten the game. You hear me? Listen to me again. If Grambling and their stable of running backs are able to run the ball, and their quarterback can run too. Quintarius can run. If they are able to run the ball, they can shorten the game and they can keep this from getting out of hand. And when you shorten the game and you're able to score some points, because nobody's been able to score points on JSU either. This is all big ifs, though. This is a big task. This is not going to be easy. But if they are able to shorten the game, run the ball, then they are going to have a legit chance of winning this game. They are going to have a chance to be in it in the fourth quarter. And if you're in it in the fourth quarter, anything can happen. A turnover can happen. A big-time kick return, a punt return. Somebody can commit a penalty. Like, if you're in it in the fourth quarter, all things, everything is up in the air and you have a legit shot. But the only way to do that is to shorten this game, because Jackson State is a big-time offense, but they are a quick strike offense. That means Jackson State takes time to score points. And if Grambling can take time and score points, Jackson State's going to score some points. I mean, that's just what they've been able to do, as long as the guys are catching the ball. Now, that's the thing. As long as guys are catching the ball and aren't fumbling, JSU's problem last week was they had drop passes and they couldn't hold on to the ball. I mean, they just couldn't. I mean, guys are fumbling in the end zone, running out of bounds, dropping passes, dropping touchdown passes. Like, Jackson State's problem last week, they would have scored about 2 or 3 more touchdowns. They couldn't hold on to the ball. And that's just football, so I'm not going to use that as an excuse. That's just the way things happen. Now, Grambling, can y'all be able to establish the run? Because Dennis Thurman and those boys on that JSU D line and that linebacker core led by Aubrey Miller, they're coming. They are coming, and they aren't backing down. They are an attacking defense. They play man-to-man on the outside, and they attack the entire time. Attack the entire time. Let me see. Let me get some more of your comments. Who's streaming the game? The game is going to be streamed on ESPN3. ESPN3 is not the subscription base. So if you have a cable, if you have DirecTV, Spectrum, I don't even know what the other ones are, but if you have cable, that means you have an ESPN account. If you have an ESPN account, you're able to get ESPN3 without paying extra. It's not ESPN Plus, which you have to pay extra for. It's ESPN3. So for those who are wondering what the game is going to be on, ESPN3. Who's going to win the Battle of the Bands? Who is going to win the battle? Is it going to be the world's famous, or is it going to be the Sonic Boom? Who is going to leave your thoughts in the comments? Who is going to win the Battle of the Bands? So the weather is great. The weather is great. That is good to know, because shout out to Rochelle. Part of the problem Jackson State had last week is that it was wet. Players were falling. I told you that they couldn't hold on to the ball. If the weather is great, that could bode well for both teams because there's no excuses. If Grambling, and their big time back, who is an explosive back. That is the difference between Jackson State offense and the Grambling offense. The Grambling offense looks to hit home runs. The Grambling offense don't want singles and doubles. They'll take them, but Maurice Washington is trying to break one for 60. Quintarius Hawkins, like I said, he had 16 completions last week, but he had over 300 yards. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, that means he's looking down the field. But the problem with looking down the field and trying to hit home runs against this JSU defense is that you leave yourself open, is that you're holding on to the ball for a long time, is that you give those guys over on JSU, the Niles Gaddies of the world, the Antonio Doyles of the world, too much time to come after you in the backfield. The Cameron Silman Craigs of the world coming off the edge and blitzing. Too much time. You cannot hold on to the ball against this attacking JSU defense. That just won't work. You're going to be in for a long day if you sit there and try to hold the ball all day looking for the home run. I'm going to be interested to see how Coach Hue Jackson adjusts with that. And like if he is going to call more quick strike passes, more screens, more bubble screens, to try to settle down those pass rushers at JSU, because the pass rush at JSU is elite. It led the country in sacks last year, and guess what? Through 2 games, they're leading the country in sacks once again. They're the number 1 defense in all of FCS football. Shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to you. Between 53 and 55,000, you think is going to be in attendance for the game? Yeah, man. I'm saying my prediction. I'm on record saying 55,000. Okay. Who got the best band? So we seeing GSU, Tongla. Shout out to Tongla. We got Sonic Boom. The spread is 21. Wow, that is a big spread. I'm not surprised because JSU is the most popular HBCU football team in the country right now, rightfully so. They are led by Coach Deion Sanders, and they've scored a bunch of points already this year. That 59 points, I said that at the time, and I'll say it again. That 59 points against FAMU put the country on notice, right? It put the country on notice. They took a step back last week by only scoring 16, and it took a late touchdown. They only had 9 going into the fourth quarter. But it was, circumstances. It was rain. It was a lot of drop passes. It was a fumble in the end zone. It was a lot going on for JSU while they didn't score more points in their they had a field goal block. Like it was a whole lot going on. And that TSU defense, and I'm going to talk about TSU sometime later next week. That TSU defense is nasty. That TSU defense hits hard. Mr. Sterling, number 3, was flying around. The young man who got put out of the game, it was awful for him to get put out of the game like that. But that TSU defense is really, really nasty. The Grambling defense is still a big question mark because in week 1, they gave up 55 points and they looked just god awful. And then last week, that team just might be bad. And so Grambling, really, they about to have their eyes wide open, folks. They're about to have their eyes wide open because they're going into hostile territory. 55 to 60,000 will be in the stands, and they're going against an elite quarterback who will play on Sundays one day. So that we're going to learn a lot about that Grambling defense today at 1 o'clock Eastern. We are going to, you hear me? We're going to learn a lot about that Grambling defense today at 1 o'clock Eastern. Let me see what we got. We said, I like the Grambling band. Ooh, the world's famous. They getting some love. The Grambling band. It's going to be hot. How is Dres? And that's true, Media 1. That is true. How are they going to deal? See, I think we have more answers about JSU simply because we've seen JSU play 2 what are supposed to be HBCU powerhouses. They play FAMU, and they did what they did to FAMU. I mean, that wasn't hot weather. That was in Miami. I mean, Miami get pretty damn hot. And then now we're seeing them go, and then we saw them against TSU in the wet, sticky rain, and that defense. And that's the thing about defenses. Offenses, weather affects offenses drastically, simply because you have to run and catch the football, right? Like you have to run, catch, block people, in football. Defenses travel no matter what the weather is. If you got an elite defense, you got an elite defense. And one thing we know about Jackson State, they got an elite defense. In 2 games, they've given up 6 points. Let me repeat that. In 2 games, they've given up 6 points. Draylon Ellis, who was a guy that I think could possibly play on Sundays one day for TSU, the quarterback at TSU, he looked like a shell of himself. He couldn't do anything. He got sacked 8 times, 4 times by Niles Gaddy alone. You get what I'm saying? 4 times by Gaddy alone. So the defense for JSU we know is going to try, and they playing at home, and they get the first chance to play at home, and this is all without Katron Evans. This is all without Travis Hunter. This is all without Shiloh Sanders. This is all without like major, like starters, guys that are going to come in and start once they get healthy. Man, hopefully Grambling's Bland comes to Daytona next week. The Boom will win the Battle of the Bands. 60,000. Tickets are sold out. I did not know this. So tickets, you guys are letting me know the tickets are sold out. So that means we can expect what, 60,000? That means we can expect 60,000. Now, one thing we must remember. Now, for those of you who are keeping track at home, this is technically a non-conference game. Do you hear me? This is technically a non-conference game. So although the winner will have bragging rights, if it's Grambling, you can keep saying you ain't beat us since 99. And if it's Jackson State, you can keep this undefeated season going. This will not count against your SWAC record. So this is considered a non-conference game because the SWAC now has 12 teams. Every year, you're going to have 2 teams that don't make the regular season record, and Grambling was scheduled not to make the schedule this year. So they scheduled this game as a non-conference game for both teams. That is critical because when we're talking about moving forward, Grambling's chances of winning the SWAC West won't be affected by this if they lose. Jackson State's chances of winning the SWAC East won't be affected if they lose this game. That is critical to remember, specifically for Grambling, because a lot of folks feel like Jackson State is going to do what they do the rest of the SWAC way. And so if Grambling, even if they do lose this game, which we don't know, they got to play it on the field, and we'll see what Coach Hue Jackson is able to, pull out the trick bag because he's going to need it. It won't affect their chances of overtaking Southern and winning the SWAC West. That is crucial because I think Southern's the favorite to win the SWAC West, by the way. That's why I said Southern. But it won't affect their chances. So that is also something to remember. Let's look at some more of these comments. The Sonic Boom. I think the Boom is going to win the Battle of the Bands. The Sonic Boom's going to demolish the Grand. Y'all sure about that? Man, we got a lot of Jackson State fans in here, man, because y'all going to hate me. I already told y'all who my favorite band is. Not between these two. The Human Jukebox is Southern's my favorite. I'm not even going to fake the funk, dog. Southern got the best band, man. At least that I heard last year. I haven't listened to much of them, any of them this year, but last year, Southern was the most ignorant band. Southern's band, the Human Jukebox, them boys and gals was tough. They were tough, and that's just what I got to say about that. The Boom was just okay in Miami, meaning they wasn't that good. HBCU Band Talk. Hey, this is somebody who knows something about some bands right here. Shout out to HBCU Band Talk. They said they was just okay in Miami. So the Boom better bring it for the home opener. The Boom better bring it for the 55 to 60,000 people that are going to be in attendance. The Boom better bring it for Grambling. Let's not fake the funk. The Boom better bring it for Grambling because guess what? The world's most famous, they're going to bring it. So they are going to bring it. Let me see. See, the teams will be playing Mad and at home. I believe they covered the. You think they're gonna beat? So let's get some more score predictions. You guys think they're gonna beat Grambling by 21 points? Really? You guys really think you guys really think they are going to beat Grambling by 21 points? Like, y'all really think they're going to beat Grambling by 21 points? Hold on, I'm just looking something up really quick. Looking something up because I might have been saying something wrong this whole time. Hold on. What is going on? Y'all really think they're going to beat Grambling by 21 points? I mean, that is a hell of a win. If so, that is going to be one hell of a win if they beat Grambling. Why do I keep saying 1 o'clock? It is 2 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock Central. Sorry about that, guys. Y'all really think they're going to beat Grambling by 21 points? Yeah, it is. Somebody says 2 points. Yeah, why do I keep saying 1? It is 2 o'clock Eastern. It is 2 o'clock Eastern. We're in here. We coming in here heavy, man. Continue to hit that thumbs up button. Did you see the huge? They added prime seats on the sideline. Now, this I don't know about. Did you see they added huge prime seats on the sideline? They upped the VIP game day experience. Hey, for those that are in Jackson, what's the feel going? Like describe it to me. How is this game going to feel for the Jacksonians, for the Grand Fam traveling, for the folks that are going to be there in person for a game, a team that hasn't beaten another team in over 20 years at home? Like Jackson State I know you Jacksonians, you Jackson pride, y'all take a lot of pride in being the team that can fit 50,000, to being the team that leads the FCS, the entire country, in attendance. Y'all ain't beat your rivals at home in over 20 years. How's that feel, man? How does that feel? Somebody said Band Talk saying Bethune-Cookman got the best band. I gotta check Bethune out, man. I'm gonna have to check Bethune out if you saying they got the best band, and I really got to check them out. I really got to check them out because that's pretty big coming from you. 64,000 is the size of Mississippi Stadium. JSU will have as many. Woo! 60, I think 60, over 60,000. It's a lot of people, man. A lot of people. Let's see, HV man talks SU alum. They love that. Okay, that's noted. That's noted, man. He said that they're let's see, Grambling Band Glory Days was in the 70s. I love the trash talk, man. I love the trash talk. JSU won't win by 21 points. Man, the boom will bring the whole boom this week. Ooh-wee. The JSU faithful, man. When y'all see something and y'all believe in something, y'all really believe in it. Because these blowout predictions are just wild. Like 42-7. See, and here's the thing. If any team, let me take this off the screen. If any team has a chance of blowing anyone out, it is Jackson State. When if there was a blowout and if I had to bet my life on it, I would say Jackson State would be the team blowing them out, simply because they've done it before. They blew out FAMU, and two, that defense is just so ferocious. Nobody's even scored a touchdown on it yet. Like, they've given up 6 total points in 2 games. They're giving up 2 yards per play. They're leading the entire country, not HBCUs, but the entire country's in sacks. They're leading the entire country in total defense. They're leading the entire country in yards per play, right? So if anybody has a chance to blow out, it's Jackson State, simply because of their defense. And the Grambling defense, we're still trying to figure it out. Like, we're still trying to figure out how good it actually is. And the Grambling offense, when it's successful, in 2 games, 1 game, they only scored 3 points, so they weren't very successful, and they had a bunch of turnovers. And then the second game, they were successful off home run plays, right? Off home run plays. And it's going to be very, very, very difficult to hit home runs against Jackson State. And what I mean by home runs, I'm talking about like them 50-yard runs you saw Maurice Washington do. Those 40, 50-yard pass completions you saw Quintarius Hawkins do. That is going to be difficult against this stingy, very, very stingy Jackson State defense. And Jackson State's offense isn't predicated on home runs. They don't have 80-yard touchdowns. They have 80-yard touchdown drives. They have 7, 8, 10-play touchdown drives, and that favors them in a game, even if Grambling's defense was dominant, because they're not reliant on, they're not reliant on one player. The only player that makes big plays, like as far as long plays, is Shane Hooks. But we've seen Shador throw a touchdown pass to like 6 different guys this year. We've seen Willie Gaines score. We've seen Hayden, the tight end, score. We've seen Shane Hook score. We've seen Rico Powers score. We've seen Dallas Daniels score. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we've seen all of these guys catch passes, and we've seen a bunch of more guys, Kevin Coleman, catch passes from Shador. We've seen Malachi Weidman caught a pass last week. Like, so they're not predicated on big plays, and that works for them. It works really well. And when they're running the ball with Savion Wilkerson, J.D. Martin, and Santee Marshall, we're going to find out what that Grand Fam defense is made of. We're going to find out what that Grand Fam defense is made of. Nugget's going to be playing. I didn't think it was Nugget not supposed to. Shout out to the Mr. PhD. I didn't know if Nugget wasn't supposed to be playing. Nugget's a baller. Like, Nugget can really play. 34-10 JSU. What else we got? The vet is where teams' dreams are. I don't know, Solo Virgo. I don't know about that, because Grand Fam will remind you that they haven't lost at the vet since 1999. They ain't lost in the vet this millennium. They haven't lost at the Vet this millennium. So you might be right about that moving forward, but the Graham fam will say, hey, you know what I'm saying? We ain't lost in the Vet since in this millennium. 20, there we go. We have our first Grambling win prediction. Shout out to Ricky Thomas, 27-21. Ricky, let me write you down because if you win, if Graham fam wins, you're the first one to predict Grambling to win. We gonna set you up with something. We got some things in the works on this show. But Ricky, if Graham fam wins, I'm personally going to reach out to you. We're going to hook you up with something because you're the first person to say Grambling is going to win. Now we get some more score predictions. 38-17 JSU. I like that score prediction. I really do. 34-10 JSU. All and keep in mind the stadium capacity doesn't include tailgating and other events going on and around town. Jackson's probably lit right now, man. I ain't even gonna lie. Jackson State is probably too lit right now. 55,000 in the stands, another 5,000 in the parking lot. The Vet Stadium will have 60,000 in attendance. JSU will have 45,000 in the stands. 42-7, boy. Woo! These scores. 56-10. Oh my goodness. Y'all don't think this is gonna be a good game. Y'all putting up scores like this. Y'all don't think Hue Jackson, Quintarius Hawkins, Maurice Washington, y'all don't think these boys have a chance against JSU? Like just tell me, just say it. Just say it like, yo, we don't think they have a chance. We don't think Coach Hue Jackson got what it takes to come into the Vet, not to win the game. Damn, winning the game. Y'all don't think he got a chance of coming into the Vet and making this a competitive game. I don't even think this game's going to be competitive. 56-10 is not a competitive game. It's not. It is not. That means this game will be over at halftime, and we could go be partying in the parking lot. You know what I'm saying? If y'all think this game will be 56-10. I don't think it's going to be no freaking 56-10. And if it is, I'm going to come after the game and eat crow. But I don't think it's going to be that lopsided. I simply don't. 63 to... If I could throw this mic, I'd throw it. 63-0. 60. Come on, man. Come on, y'all. Like, now I'm almost thinking y'all messing with me. 63-0. If Grambling wins, it's going to be 10-9, not scoring over 10 points. Now that I can't argue it because Jackson State hasn't given up a touchdown yet. I think they give up their first one. Now, I haven't given my prediction yet, but I'm going to go ahead and let you know this, and I'm going to save it to the end. I think Jackson State going to give up their first touchdown today. I think Grambling is going to get into the end zone. If they don't, I'm going to be sick. Because my Graham fam, then let me speak on behalf of the Grambling committee. So I'm gonna play devil's advocate because I know we got a lot of JSU fans in here. Hit that thumbs up button. Here's my if I am Coach Hue Jackson, this is my pregame speech. Let me stand up and let me tighten up for this. This is Coach Hue. Coach Hue's bald and he don't wear hats, but I'm gonna wear my hat today because my hair, I ain't got no haircut. Yeah, I can see I got hair up under my neck. I'm looking rough, y'all. Bear with me. It's been a week. Here we go. I'm Coach Hue. Let's go, boys. All right, boys. This is how we got it. This is Coach Hue Jackson. All right. The world is saying you're going to lose today. Nobody is picking you. We got JSU fans that say you're going to be 63-0, 56-3, 56-10, 42-7. Ain't nobody thinking there's 60,000 going to be in the stands. And nobody's picking you to win. But guess what? I think you're going to win. This is a terrible pregame. This is a terrible pregame speech. Because you got Prime over in the other locker room talking about let's do it again. And all y'all see them stuff he be doing? Oh, my God. Like, he's amazing. He's doing all that let's do it again. And Aubrey, when you said, what would you want to do? Let's do it again. No, what you want to do? Let's do it again. And me over here saying, nobody believes in you. Go out and do it. Oh, that's awful. Let me stop because I was butchering that. That was not good at all. I'm sorry, Grambling. We Coach Hue's gonna be a lot better than me. Let me look some more of these scores. 45-3. Like, oh my God. 28-20. Okay, Sherwin. Thank you, Sherwin. Thank you, Sherwin, for a realistic game. A realistic score. Hey man, I got season tickets for JSU, but can't go. Somebody wants 2 tickets. Okay, shut up, bump and run. He's got 2 tickets. He's got 2 tickets to the game, it sounds like. Shut up, bump and run. My email is in the description. If you want to shoot me an email, my email is in the description. You can shoot me an email. Maybe we can give your tickets away, man. If you're nice enough to give them away. My email is in the description at JLightsy7. My email is in the description at JLightsy7. My Instagram and Twitter is right here. So if you hit me up on Instagram and Twitter, I can see it right there, and I'm able to respond to all messages. 34-7 JSU. The real Tigers will war. Arkansas State proved it. Now, let's be fair. Let's be fair. JSU fans, you don't like this. Let's be fair. Arkansas State is an FBS program. Jackson State doesn't play FBS programs. They played UL Monroe last year. They don't schedule any FBS programs this year. And I don't know if they have any FBS programs scheduled for next year. So let's be fair. And they have Butch Jones, who coached at Alabama as an assistant and was a head coach at Tennessee. He knows what he's doing. Let's be fair. So let's be fair. JSU defense is fire. Yes, they are. Miss Ivy-tude. 8 sacks. Think they're gonna have 8 sacks. No, they had 8 sacks last week. So I mean, shoot, there's a possibility they can have 8 sacks. 48-6. After the sloppy play last week, JSU would come out focused and dominate the game. We'll have to wait and see that, because I think Grambling will have something to say about that. I think Grambling will have something to say about that, but we will see. We will see. Wasn't Hue at TSU when they lost to JSU? Yes, he was. Now, Hue was at yes, that was just last year. Yeah, he was there. And even that game, TSU last year wasn't that good of a team, though. I mean, let's be honest. They were building to what they have now. They were building. Now, Grand Fam, you guys know about Jeremy Hickbottom. Jeremy Hickbottom was the quarterback at TSU last year. He was the quarterback at Grambling. TSU just wasn't that good of a football team. Now, this year's TSU's team was really, I mean, they're a really good team. They're picked to win the OVC. When Hugh was there, TSU wasn't that good of a football team. Grand Fam, I don't think Hickbottom, I mean, he's okay, but he isn't Draylon Ellis. He isn't a Shador. He definitely isn't a Shador Sanders. And so let's not do that. What's up, Vic? Vic's in here. What's going on, Vic? A shutout. Lisa. Oh, Lisa. You think this is going to be a shutout? You don't think they're going to score? Grambling is going to score a touchdown today. I ain't hearing no more shutout talk. I ain't hear all these 3s and 6s. That means y'all don't think they're going to score no touchdowns. Grambling's going to score a touchdown and hit an extra point today. I ain't seeing they're going to score a whole bunch of them. But Jackson State is giving up their first touchdown today, and I'm just standing on that. And I 38-14 JSU. We got an overtime prediction, 35-20. This is the type of stuff I like to see. Now, this, in a perfect world, Vic, this would happen. In a perfect world, this is a close game. Both teams score touchdowns. Both teams go down to the wire in overtime, and then someone gets the best of someone with a late play, a late big-time play, a late turnover, something. This is the type of score you'd like to see. All them 63-0 and 48-3s and 52-6s. Nobody wants to see that, man. I said, Jeff, do you think Grambling is better than FAMU or Tennessee State? Now, this is a good question. The short answer is no. The short answer is, do I think they're better than, and the best team between those two is Tennessee State. And do I think Grambling is better than Tennessee State? The short answer is no. And the reason why it's no, it's because I've seen Tennessee State in 2 weeks. 2 weeks now, meaning their first week against that, I can't even remember who they played, Eastern Washington. Their first week against Eastern Washington, score 29 points, have a lead, and have a real chance to win that game in the fourth quarter. And they played really well. In the second week, they once again played really well against Jackson State, 2 ranked FCS teams. They took both of those teams to the wire, both Eastern Washington and Jackson State. Grambling, I've yet to see that. They didn't play a good FCS team in Northwestern State last week, and then the week before they played an FBS team and they kind of got embarrassed. Their quarterback got hurt. They kind of got embarrassed. So, do I think they're better than Tennessee State? No. FAMU, it's a question mark. I think they could be better than FAMU. Before the season, I wouldn't have said that. No. But they could be better than FAMU. I just don't know. Grambling is still the ultimate question mark because they played an FBS team, and I'm not going to hold that against them. And then they played a bad FCS. They played an FBS team week 1 in Arkansas State, and I'm not going to hold that against them. They look bad. But then they played an FCS team in week 2, but it was a bad FCS team, and they looked really, really good. And so this will be the best HBCU team and a top-ranked FCS team in Jackson State, and we're going to learn a lot about Coach Hue, about Quintarius Hawkins, and about this Grambling State team today at 2 o'clock Eastern. They should have done better. I guess they should have. Jackson State plays Texas. Okay. Okay. Then that'll be cool to see. That'll be cool to see. All right. Without Hue, they are a good without Hue. That's interesting. I don't know about that one. All the dogs is getting let out the kennel. They intentionally ain't fed them all week. This ain't that type of team. Okay, we're going to see, man. We are going to see. We're in heavy, man. Continue to hit that thumbs up button. Let's see. 24-17 JSU. It will be a great game. Yes, it'll be a great game. Let's see. Where's the MEAC love? We got to do more. Roberts, we got to do more with the MEAC. I'll make an effort to do that. Shout out to you, Drew. Shout out to you, man. Hit that thumbs up button, guys. Shout out to y'all, man, coming in here. Drew, shout out. Thank you for your donation. Let's see. Hey, Jeff, I think Grambling's performance last week has been overhyped because that team really wasn't that good on defense. This is a SWAC game throughout the records. The edge goes to the team. Let's see. Let me. I think Jeffrey. I don't think you finished that. I want to see what else you got to say. Jeff, should JSU take on a credible FCS? See, I would like to see that. The North Dakota. Here's the thing, though. Coach Prime, and one thing I will say about him, he's doing it his way, and he's not being peer pressured to take on a North Dakota State or to take on. He's doing it his way. He's building his program his way, and it's working. There is nothing besides bragging rights that comes with playing in North Dakota State. Now, I'm not saying we wouldn't all love to see it. But there is no pressure. He feels no pressure to play North Dakota State. Playing or beating or losing to North Dakota State, that doesn't impact his recruiting. He's still going to be able to recruit. He's still going to pack out the stadium. Y'all was going to do that regardless. He's still going to get all the love. He's still going to continue to change the culture. He's still going to do what he is doing at Jackson and across all the HBCUs. And so he's doing it his way on his time. And so that's why I don't knock him for not playing the teams that he doesn't want to play, whether that's North Dakota State or taking the money games. And I've been meaning to make a video on the money games thing because he's doing it his way. And I'm not knocking that. I admire it. I salute it because he's not feeling pressured to take on a team that maybe he feels. Now, he might not say it outwardly. He might not say it to the public. He might not say it to the media. He might not say it to the fans. But maybe he feels, you got to think. His program isn't ready to take on an established program that's been doing the dang on thing and beating big-time teams for over a decade, right? Coach Prime has been at Jackson for technically 2 years. He's been the head coach of Jackson State. Now, they'll say this is third season, but it's just his second fall season. He's been there 2 calendar years. And so this thing takes time. He took over a program that was in the dumpster. He took over a program that didn't even have adequate football fields. He took over a program for a decade that just wasn't doing what they were used to doing as far as winning. He took over a program that was lacking resources. He took over a program that when it rained, they couldn't practice on the field. He took over a program, you know what I'm saying? So and what he's been able to do in 2 years, hats off. Tip of the cap. You got to tip the cap to him, man. And so when he is ready, he'll take on the teams that he feels like his team is prepared for. It's just that simple. He's still building the offensive line. He's still filling out the skill position. He's still getting the trenches and not just the first team. When you play, especially when you play FBS programs, you have to have depth. You have to have multiple guys because you know what happens in big-time, high-level college football games? Players get injured. That's just the reality. Players get hurt. And so you have to have guys on the second team that just barely got beat out or they would have been first-teamers. And guess what? That'll get a chance on the first team. For example, you guys know, for the long-time viewers of this show, you guys know I'm a Louisville native. I'm a Louisville fan. And Louisville played Florida State last night on a game on ESPN in front of the national audience. It's about 6 starters between the two teams went out with injuries, including a quarterback. Florida State's quarterback got hurt. Florida State had about 3 defensive linemen that got hurt. Louisville had they had a starting receiver, D. Wiggins, they got hurt. They had an offensive, their left tackle got hurt. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that is the point of having depth, because even when the big-time FBS programs play each other, they get hurt. So imagine them playing you. So you have to build the depth, and that's why I don't knock anything that Coach Prime is doing as far as building his program his way. So that's my thoughts on that. That was a long-winded answer, but that's my thought. Jeff, Graham doesn't have the players, coaches, or they don't got the coaches yet. Yeah, y'all really playing with Hue, man. Hold on, man. Let me get on my soapbox, man, because I like Coach Jackson. Yo, don't play with Coach Hue, man. Coach Hue can coach. Now, I'm not going to act like they don't have the players. They have the players yet. They don't. It takes time. Just like I said, Coach Prime is only his second year, calendar year, going into the calendar year 3. Coach Hue is in year 1. Coach Hue's only had one recruiting class. Coach Hue has only had one, now it's a big one. He brought in like 40 new players, including 5 quarterbacks. But it is going to take time, and that's why I don't think they'll win the game today, but I think it'll be competitive. There's no team in the SWAC that can handle Jackson State. Arkansas State is not a good team. Woo! 35-10, JSU. It won't be close. Play Sam Houston. Possibly. Sorry, the team that wants it the most. Okay, I got you. Not yet. We barely beaten the SWAC team. Okay. Who you talking about? Jackson, or are you talking about Grambling? Rico, are you a Jackson or a Grambling guy? I don't know. Let me see. Again, here we come with the dumb crap. You want to play Cracker Barrel, put the pads on and go. That's why I like Coach Prime. He doesn't succumb to peer pressure. He is the pressure. Not at all. And he doesn't care about the backlash. He understands that the thing he does is unconventional. He understands that the thing he does is going to receive criticism, not just because of what is being said, but who is saying it, meaning him, and the way he's going about it, meaning the way he does his things, which are unconventional, all the social media. Even I have come to learn and love Prime even more since he's been at Jackson State, because I remember being on here in Prime's early days at JSU and being like, yo, could the social media stuff be a distraction? And this was before he hired his son full time to be the social media guy. And now we get clips at every hour on the hour. You know what I'm saying? From Deion Jr. be putting them things out every hour on the hour. But even when they were just doing it like every day or every other day, I was like, yo, social media, that's a little different. Because you don't see Nick Saban on social media every day. You don't see, Dabo Swinney on social media every day. And even I wasn't critical, but I was hesitant. I was like, I don't know if I'm crazy about it. But now it's like, hey, and it works. It works. It literally works, because it doesn't stop their performances on Saturdays. It doesn't stop whatever they're doing throughout the week as far as preparation. And it doesn't stop the winning. So even I've come around. It's like, hell, put more clips out. I watch them. I tap in, whether it's Deion Jr. or the pregame show or whatever. I tap in because I want to know what's going on. And they're an interesting team. They're an interesting bunch. Even the way they reward walk-ons to go to the next locker room or whatever. The way they're moving up, that was like cool, man. If you haven't seen it, Deion Jr. So, for example, for what I'm talking about, for those who don't understand what I'm talking about, Jackson State has a new locker room. And so the walk-ons, they don't have enough space for every single player on the roster to be in the new locker room. And so when the walk-ons move on up, quote unquote, to the new locker room, you get rewarded. You get nominated by the coaches. You get a second. It's like Robert Rules of Order. You get nominated by a coach, second by another coach, and they celebrate you. Moving on up. They play a song. They do a clap little ritual. It's kind of cool, man. Check it out if you don't get a chance. I don't want to play because I don't want to get a copyright strike. But, that is what it is. We use the schedule JSU for homecoming every year. So y'all was saying today was weak. Yeah, ain't nobody scheduling Jackson State for homecoming no more. For about a 10-year, here's the thing. For about a 10-year period, Jackson State wasn't no good. Things are different now. At 1400 Lynch Street. Who is the MEAC? Please put a bolo. Now, Vic. Let's not get disrespectful. We saw what South Carolina State, we ain't talking about what they did to Jackson State. We saw what they did to Bethune-Cookman. Now, granted, it was Bethune-Cookman. I get it. It was Bethune-Cookman. But still, we saw what they did. Don't disrespect the MEAC now. Don't get too crazy, because the MEAC still leads in the MEAC SWAC Challenge, and they also lead in the Celebration Bowl. Let's not get too crazy, Vic. Let's not get too crazy. The Ville almost beat. No, the Ville should have beat Florida State, but that's a different video for a different day, because I don't even want to talk about them boys. They get on my nerves. When's the last time Grambling State University lost to Jackson? 1999. The year Prince was singing about. That was the last time. Now, maybe that changes in a few hours. Kickoff's at 2 o'clock Eastern. Maybe by 5 o'clock Eastern, things might be different. But Grambling, until that time, Grambling can say y'all ain't beat us at y'all place since 1999. Woo! I'm following North Carolina Central in the MEAC. Now, North Carolina Central looks good. North Carolina Central looks really, really good. They really don't know Coach Hue's pedigree. Not at all. They disrespecting Coach Hue like that. Jeffrey, let them know. They can't be disrespecting Coach Hue like that. And they think of it like this: the NCAA shut down the portal. No. No. They didn't shut it. I don't know what. Now, I saw somebody else say this. The NCAA didn't shut down the portal because of Jackson State. The NCAA shut down the portal because of college football coaches complaining. Not complaining about Jackson State. College football coaches have been saying this since the creation of the portal, that they want a portal window. So for example, in pro leagues, in like the NFL, let's use the NFL for example, they have what's called a free agency period, right? And they have a trade deadline, a free agency period where you can sign, where most of the free agents get signed. And then they have a trade deadline, and then they have dates that if you don't sign a contract by this date, you got to wait till next year. If you don't do this by this date, you got to wait till the next opening. If you don't do, so in the trade deadline, if you don't make a trade by this date, then you can't make it to next year. So there's rules and regulations placed in player movement in the NFL. There's rules and regulations as far as player movement in the NFL. And so the transfer portal is player movement. You're going from one school to another. You're not necessarily being traded. It's like free agency, though. And so the NCAA didn't have a day or a set date on free agency, aka the transfer portal. And so a lot of coaches complain because you'd be in, week 2 of the season, and a guy doesn't like his playing time, and he transfers out of your program. Remember, we were talking about depth. This guy might be a second team guy, or a guy who was a rotational guy. He might help. Sometimes it was even starters, and they would just get mad at the coach or get mad at the program or whatever, and they transfer during the season or transfer right before the season starts, and that eliminates depth on that team. And so coaches were complaining about that, and so the NCAA put in what's now called the transfer portal window. Had nothing to do with Jackson State. So I love JSU, and I know they get a lot of transfers. This rule had nothing to do with them, by the way. So just wanted to put that nugget out there. That running back Aubrey knocked the snot out last spring. It's a good question, Javon. Bro, Hue didn't do well at TSU. What makes him think he's gonna do well at Grambling? I don't even want to address that. Coach Deion Sanders is an NFL Hall of Famer. He is. This is true. He's a college football Hall of Famer too. Now you know better. You can't think NC because of JSU. I'm a JSU. Okay, yeah. So they ain't closing because of JSU. We just went through that. Will I be a WKU homecoming? Possibly. I don't know yet. I haven't made the decision yet. Kid Rashad doesn't like Prime. Let's see. Yeah, it's not closed. It's just being regulated. Exactly, Justin. It's not closed. If you transfer now, you just won't be eligible to play. And they said that even back. They said, if you enter the portal after May 1st, you can't. Well, it technically is closed right now, actually, Justin, because they just said they have to reject all entries into the portal post August 15th. And then if you transferred after May 1st anyway, you weren't eligible for the fall anyway, right? So that's why, like, Maximus Gibbs, who came from USC to Jackson State, and King, I can't think of his last name, King, the linebacker that transferred from Alabama to Jackson State recently, they won't play this year, but they could be possibly big time players for the Tigers next year. Let's see. Jackson State was only down 6 seasons, not 10. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to say that. Somebody else said that, RJ. 6 years, not 10. Okay. My apologies. 6 years, not 10. Of course. Yes. Let's see. Who is? I don't even know who this guy Ken Rashawn. Who is this Ken Rashawn I'm talking about? I don't even know. So, guys, we've been on here for an hour. We've been on here for an hour, man. This was our pre-live show. Okay, so I haven't even given my prediction, right? I've been talking, been reading comments, been doing all this stuff. Continue to hit that thumbs up button. Continue to like, share, and subscribe. So here is my prediction about the game. Here's what I think is going to happen. I think Grambling is going to come out with their first about 10 plays scripted. I think they're going to be scripted, and they're going to try to attack the aggressive nature of Jackson State. Jackson State plays a lot of man-to-man coverage, and they're very, very, very aggressive, meaning they are see ball, get ball, see quarterback, get quarterback. Hey, shout out to you, Levlin. I appreciate it. So here's the thing. I think Grambling is going to come out their first 10 plays scripted, and I think they get points on the first drive. How dare I say that? I think they get points. I don't know if they'll score a touchdown. I think they get points on their first drive, and then from there, Jackson State pretty much takes over. I think Jackson State makes some adjustments. I don't know what to think of the Grambling defense just yet, because the Grambling defense in that Arkansas State just simply didn't tackle well. They just didn't. They didn't tackle well. And then in the game against Northwestern State, Northwestern State just wasn't a good football team. And so Jackson State is going to make Grambling tackle in open space. Jackson State are going to throw short passes and make Grambling make the tackle right there. Because like I said, Shedeur Sanders doesn't take a lot of 40-yard shots down the field. He does a lot of 10-yard passes, 12-yard passes, 17-yard passes, 19-yard passes. Like, he hits you. And then his receivers, whether it's the Shane Hooks of the world, the Dallas Daniels of the world, they make the Kevin Colemans of the world. They are really, really good at yards after catch. They're really, really good at yards after catch. They're really, really good at making people miss. And Grambling, I'm not so sure if they tackle well just yet. And so that is going to be a problem for me. Them not being able to tackle. If Grambling's able to establish the run, which nobody has been able to do, that they just haven't been able to do, but I'm holding out hope. If Grambling's able to establish the run and make this a short game, that is the only chance they have of even being competitive. It's the only chance they have, not just of winning the game, but even being competitive. If Grambling can't run the ball and Jackson State's able to pin their ears back and send Niles Gaddy and send Antonio Doyle and send Barron Hobson and send Aubrey Miller and send those guys after Quintarius Hawkins, who is mobile, by the way. He's mobile, but he's going to be a deer in the headlights. He's going to be bucking them eyes and seeing them boys come after him, just like Draylon Ellis was last week. So here's my prediction. I told y'all I think Grambling's going to score a touchdown today. I actually think they're going to score 2. I'm picking Jackson State to win this game. 31-14. 31-14. I'm taking a conservative score. 31-14. They don't cover the spread. The spread's 21, so they don't quite cover the spread. 31-14 Jackson State. 31-14 Jackson State is my prediction. Thank you guys for tuning in. Shout out to y'all. Shedeur's 85% of, and I mean, the dude's completion percentage is ridiculous. The man is supremely accurate. And I told you guys in the post game to the FAMU game, the most impressive thing that I've seen Shedeur do this year as far as his growth is his mobility. Not necessarily his mobility to scramble, but his mobility to work around the pocket and keeping his eyes down the field. That's been the biggest growth I've seen in his game from year 1 to year 2. And I think that plays a factor in this game as well. 30, what did I just say? 31-14, that's 17 points, not the 21 points. 31-14, Jackson State wins this game. They beat Grambling for the first time at home since 1999. Coach Prime gets the best of Coach Hue Jackson. And Grambling falls to 1-2. Jackson State improves to 3-0 on the season. Grambling falls to 1-2 on the year. Leave your thoughts. Continue to put your score predictions. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Mike Tyson, Hue Jackson. My name is JeffLightsyJr, guys. Let me get out of here, man. We've been in here for an hour. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter at JLightsy7. That's Instagram and Twitter at JLightsy7. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you so much. And we'll do more live shows like this before games. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.